And we are live on radio in 5, 4, 3.
And we are back, folks, here on the Michigan Insider on the Big 1050 WTKA, online at the Big1050.com, here on the Michigan Insider with the Monday morning quarterback, DG, Devin Gardner himself, fashion advisor. This is going to be your new title on Fox, fashion advisor as well. See, this is I'm gonna add to the titles because we need to be
Sam's
we need to do fashion advisor to the Stars or fashion advisor to the Fox broadcast.
His suit
team.
on Friday was phenomenal.
Yeah. I'm giving you credit. I'm giving you credit.
There's always something
you're doing your thing. You can advise everybody, but my man Mark Ingram. See, because Mark Ingram does all right. Mark Ingram does his thing.
Mark Ingram does a nice job.
Everybody else needs help.
Have you seen his Wendy's commercial?
I have not.
It's really good.
Okay.
It's really he don't even say that much, but it's just it's him. It's Flint. It's real good. You should look it up.
Mark Ingram. He doesn't need any advice. The rest of those dudes need help. DG.
Brady Quinn be solid. Brady Quinn be solid.
Okay.
He be solid. But he work out a lot. He can play a little bit.
Yeah. So you be showing Tim Brando some moves. Can you help him with his wardrobe?
I'm gonna get told Tim right, man. I'm just telling you, he getting younger by the day.
Okay.
Younger by the day, man.
All right. Well, folks, you know how we do it on the Monday Morning Quarterback is brought to you by our friends at Grand Traverse Resort and Spa. You see how we represent GTR every single week here on Monday Morning Quarterback. You see DG, Grand Traverse Resort and Spa. You see me, Grand Traverse Grand Traverse Resort and Spa. We represent GTR because there is no truer north than our friends at Grand Traverse Resort and Spa. You can have your escape, your vacation right here in the great state of Michigan. You don't have to go too far away. You can still experience a great golf getaway. Isn't that right, Mr. Weintraub?
Golf is still definitely open right now, Sam. Terrific golf up north at Grand Traverse Resort.
We will show you before the morning is out the rolling hills of Grand Traverse Resort and Spa. And not only that, the great spa offerings, the great resort offerings, so many things to experience up at Grand Traverse Resort and Spa. You can see at grandtraverseresort.com.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty frustrating that you keep waiting so long to get to the spa. I'm just like, okay, this is all good. But the moneymaker for me is the year-round attraction.
I hear you.
The spa.
Hey, man, we could use, after watching that game, we could use a massage, right?
Oh, I need to give me a spa day. Huh?
Yeah, we could use a spa day for sure. Plenty
well, so
of
I didn't get to watch. I still haven't watched TV copy, so it was probably worse for you guys when you're watching TV copy or whatever. I just watched the all 22, just click through. I already knew what was going to happen. Like defensively, I told you it was going to be tough. The quarterback is good. The running back is good. And I haven't watched any of the game as far as their offense. But I imagine he was very sharp like he was. Like I talked about, Washington should have beat Rutgers. And honestly, they should have beat Washington State as well. They just, kind of kicked themselves in the butt a few times on different things. And you had to know that Jed Fish knew coming into playing Michigan, and obviously it's at Washington, but playing Michigan, you can't beat yourself. And if you don't beat yourself, you'll have a really good chance. So I don't know what the quarterback did, but I'm sure he played well. And then the running back, Jonah Coleman, I'm sure he played well too.
Yeah, he had some plays. It was the pass defense in this game.
And this is probably the best quarterback they play. He is sharp. I try to tell people, but everybody kind of remembers him turning over a bunch at Mississippi State. And I was trying to explain to as many people as possible, dude, this is a different dude. He's transformed himself into a drop back, play action pass, pro style West Coast offense quarterback after playing air raid. And it's super impressive. Now, I thought for sure Michigan would be able to put enough pressure on him maybe to get him back to his old habits. But I don't know if they did, but I'm sure they did.
They got pressure. They picked him off one time, but they didn't execute their zone pressures well at all. They were too soft. Between the softness of some of their zone coverages, their zone awareness is off. Their zone pressures were poor. And then they had a couple of guys who were really targeted ad nauseum in man, and they got some.
They got nice receivers. I mean, Washington's a good football team. Like I said, they couldn't get out of their own way as far as penalties and just bad mistakes. Like, for example, against Rutgers, they win this game going away if they block a field goal, all right, going in the half, and a young player runs off the field during the play, right? First of all, the guy that blocked it starts celebrating. He could have scooped and scored, right? So he starts to celebrate. A guy runs off the field and starts to celebrate. And so now it's a 15-yard penalty on a live ball, right? So now it's a first down, and the very next play, Rutgers scores a touchdown before half, right? And so just things like, if you take that play away, they win the game, right? It's just things like that kind of kept getting in their way. But, I mean, they put it together, apparently.
Well, even with that, Michigan still had opportunities.
Very, very much so did.
Still had opportunities. So I'm curious your breakdown, because I think so they get down 14-0 when they decide to make the change. I think it was 18 snaps and 14-0 when they go to Jack Tuttle.
Yeah.
And then they go on they score on 3 straight drives at that point. What did you see up to the point of making the quarterback change?
Well, I think Alex Orji played well, and I thought they called really good plays. He had his feet and eyes in the right place, and Washington's plan, they got their plan in order very quickly, and it was a masterful plan. Firstly, on the reason there's not points and those drives aren't continued because of batted balls, right? The batted balls, the guy's open behind them, right? Remember we talked about Orji trying to find cover 2. Got to know cover 2, got to know to get to the middle. He knew, right? He tries to get to the middle, gets batted down by a defensive lineman. And then on the next third down, he had a curl outside versus retreat cover 3 coverage. That's what we're trying to get him to, right? We got to try to get him to retreat coverage, so it's easy throw. And the blitzing alley player jumps up and bats it down, right? And so he looked like he got better, but because you go down 14, I think it was the right decision. First of all, let's be clear. Tuttle was supposed to be the quarterback, right? He's played the most football. He's got the best combination of Davis Warren and Alex Orji. But I thought he retired from football, and maybe, I guess he didn't. Obviously he didn't. He was injured, and whatever the case may be, he should have been the quarterback. But I don't think it was a fault of Orji's that he got taken out. But I also think it was the right decision. And let me tell you why. Washington's plan was, well, they call drop back downfield passes. They do. They'll call a bunch of them, but they do call some. And he hasn't proven to throw them down there, right? He's not throwing it. So what do? We must rush, right? And what must rush means is, as a defensive line, you hit, extend, engage, but you don't truly rush the passer, right? You keep him in the pocket and get eyes on him. And when he throws, which is going to be intermediate, right? It's going to be a low trajectory because it's going to be intermediate, or it's going to be short throws. Jump up. I mean, it was genius, just because it's like, if you're not going to throw the ball over our heads down the field, why are we rushing you and putting ourselves in a compromising position when if we rush you, then we probably have to have a spy, because you're going to get out, run, create, make plays. If we must rush and you just stay in the pocket and you're going to throw short, fine, right? We'll jump up and bat the ball down, and they executed it perfectly. And then they bring Jack Tuttle in, and it's just like, that's not going to work, right? Because he's throwing the ball down the field some, and it was really impressive to see, because you got to get into the mind, into the body of Jack Tuttle. He ain't played football in a little while. And even when he did play a little bit last year and whatever, he didn't play a bunch. He didn't play snaps in a row. It's obviously he played in the past, but he is far removed from playing live football. And he played well, right? He played well. And if he had started the first game of the season, we beat Washington. Michigan beats Washington for sure, because some of the stuff was a little sped up just because things are moving fast. You can't take sacks. You don't want to really turn the ball over. And so he's moving a little faster than he probably would have if he had been comfortable. However, without all that being said, he looked extremely comfortable. He made decisive decisions. He got his eyes to his check down quickly, sometimes a little too quickly, right? Just because, you don't know how much time you're going to have. You don't know if they're going to protect long enough. And I'm with him, right? It's not, I don't like it. Get to the check down. And he created positive plays. Like you said, the first 3 drives, 17 points, 2 touchdowns and a field goal. So you can't argue with that. You can't argue with Orji being in there, batted balls or not. You can't argue with Orji being in there, no points, and then him coming in and getting down. You cannot argue with that. And I don't know him like that, but I was proud as a fan of Michigan and whatever. It's like, that's hard to do, man. Coming in at Washington, Washington's got to beat on what you're trying to do and to have success. And another thing that I saw that popped out, when one was in the game, I knew he was in the game. And I'm not watching TV copy. I'm watching all 22. And it's, that looked different. What? Separation. The deep dig that he ran, I don't know who they trying to fool. He can play. He might not be great. It gives me the kind of Jameson Williams Lions early, right? Where you're just not doing everything right, dropping a lot of balls. You're kind of like a scrub, honestly, right? However, spoon feed. Now he's a real player. And I think he's moving toward, he's going to be able to be dominant just because of all the multifaceted skill set that he has. And I'm talking about Jameson Williams. But watching yesterday against good defensive backs, against a good defensive backfield, when it was man, he created separation, man. On that dig, he snapped that thing down, got flat, caught it out. It looked different. We haven't seen that. And then on the one where Jack Tuttle fumbles. Now, we want him to protect the ball, of course. Remember, he hasn't played football in a while, right? He gets in there. He's, trying to protect the ball. He's got, to his right, he's got Walker. One-on-one. He doesn't look there first, right? He looks left, right? Walker beats him down the field, and then he comes back. I don't think he ever got to that, right? Because what it looked like to me is Walker's just basically a decoy where you run this guy off and we're going to have a guy coming across, right? You're going to have an over coming across and you're really the clear out. So Jack Tuttle hasn't played a lot this year or in the past in a while. He goes right to the over when really you should put your eyes to Walker. If you get that, throw that, and then the over will come into your eyes, right? But like I talked about, things are sped up, right? He's, the game's on, you know what I mean? It's a tough thing to ask. And I, like I said, I think he handled it well, but that's like the maturation of if he continues to get reps, he'll see that from here on out. This is me saying this. I don't know what they're going to do, but I'm sure they watch the same film I watched. And when he's out there, he looks different than other people. That's it. He looks different. He needs to have 4 shots a game. 4 times. Four times where we get him in man-to-man, throw it up and see what he can do. The more confidence he builds, the more he feels like he can make plays and he sees himself making them plays. It's going to be scary then. Because now you got that threat down the field, in which Michigan hasn't had in quite some time. Now you have that threat down the field, and all your overs, all your daggers, all those different things are much more open. And then you get him on reverse, get him on reverses, different things like that, touching the ball, because he's different. Obviously, I told you I went to practice, I saw, and he looked different in shorts and workout stuff and whatever. And this is the first time I saw in the game of like, it translates to other humans. He's tall and he's very fast, right? Yeah. And he made the really nice catch.
Yeah, figure some things out.
4 times. 4 times it needs to be isolated by himself. Obviously, other routes, but he's the first look. And if you kind of like it, throw it. Not I love it. If he's even, throw it up and see what he can do, right? Maybe throw it down the field, maybe he runs it down, or throw it up so he can jump and try to catch the football. He is a guy that if they can get him going, and bye week comes at a perfect time because they get to see that film, like, okay, you can handle it. You can be a weapon for us. Let's lean into that all bye week. Let's try to make sure you make as many plays in practice so that when the game comes, it's not fresh and brand new.
Yeah, I think tweeted this during the game and wrote it after the game that Jack Tuttle gets them closer to last year's play.
Very much so.
I'm not saying it gets them to last year's offense, but from a play call perspective, gets them closer to that. I think your analysis where you said he gives you some of what Davis gave you from as far as throwing the football, and then he gives you some of what Alex gives you running around. He pulled it on a duo read, got you a first down.
Yes, he did. He did a lot with his legs outside. Remember that stat we used to think of for JJ, yards created out with his legs, whether it be running outside the pocket throwing or running and running. He could be up there because he creates and does a very nice job of it.
So he made it clear to the defense that you got to watch me.
You can't just drop this 8.
You got to watch me.
Yeah, and that's hard because that's what they want to do sometimes, right? They want to get 3 down linemen, drop 8, nowhere to throw the ball, and a guy, they can't be right if you can move and create and throw and have poise and all that.
Yeah, so it's a comfort zone. I think it's more of a comfort zone for them from play call perspective, which is where which is where you want to be. So hopefully,
yeah, we talked about how difficult it is to call plays for Orgy. Is it possible? Absolutely. And if that's your option, you better get it done. However, it is easier to call plays for Tuttle just because you trust him to drop back pass all the time.
I think so, because I think you could see in the 18 snaps that Alex got in this game, a lot of the themes. So we talked about how in the Minnesota games, like there were no +1 runs.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, just not to armchair it too much. Like I'm quick to say I never call plays, but that doesn't really compute to me.
With that quarterback, you definitely should.
You definitely should. So it just seems like you would do that, right? And so then they get in this game, and what do?
Yeah.
You saw.
Of course.
You saw him.
I mean, we did suggest it on last week's show, did we not?
Right. Not to say that they listened to us.
Time out. Don't do that.
I'm not saying that they listened to us.
We suggested it on last week's show. So go ahead.
I'm not
you don't got to say that. You don't got to say that. Everybody knows.
I'm not saying that they listened to us.
Anybody that's been to the show for the last 4 years.
I'm not saying that
I don't want you to
us.
say it, but I just want you to stop saying that. But go ahead.
But my point is, not pulling it out of, not pulling it out of thin air, but it just made sense, right?
Yeah.
But what it says is it still figuring some things out, even with how to call him in the run game. Forget the pass game. They were still figuring out how to run him.
Yeah. And
so if you're still figuring that out, clearly you're still figuring out how to figure out his pass game too. It wasn't coming along
the
fast
difficulty is at an all-time high because as a runner, he's not a great runner, right? He's a powerful runner. He's a runner that can help you in the run game, but he's not call a Q gap scheme where he got to find where he got to go, right? It needs to be Q power where it's a clear defined area where he's going. You know what I mean? And so that makes it tough because you can't just run Q power all the time. You got to have variety in the way you run the quarterback, and he hasn't been able to have enough reps to develop the vision and ability to run the football like a Jalen Milroe. Jalen Milroe, you can call any quarterback run the same runs that you call for the running back. He's going to cut it back. He's going to jump outside if he needs to. He's going to do all those things. For Orgy, he's just trying not to mess it up.
Well, they did. Man, they called a quarterback split zone in this game. They called some different stuff. So I'm like, okay.
But they weren't. He wasn't as effective as he needed to be. Right? If we're going to sacrifice giving the ball to our running backs, we need plays.
Here's what I know.
Like, remember JJ, every time he ran the ball, it was a first down.
In the USC game, he averaged like 7 yards a carry on +1 runs.
Yeah.
So that's why you looked at the Minnesota game, it was like, well,
why aren't you doing it?
You're right.
It's another opportunity to improve. Yeah, you're right.
So
that's why we have Monday morning quarterback, right? And then
so
you set them up, make sure let's get back to it.
Right. So but you
Omarion shots. Remember it next week.
You got that piece back in the game, but it was always going to be. It's not going to be successful if you can't figure out a way to grow him up in the pass game. Whether it was figuring out
100%. You're never gonna have a chance against these good teams.
Yeah, figuring out the play call mix, or he's not progressing fast enough, or a combination of the two. Whatever, it wasn't coming along, and so you get Jack Tuttle in the mix, and boom, he gives you a jolt.
He got some of all that, little mix of both.
And so now it's a matter of getting him reacclimated.
Minus the bad throws, because the interception, that's a really good play by the DB. Right, could have been a better throw, could have been a little more outside, but it's not like egregious. It's not like, oh my God, what are you doing? It's like, okay, that's happened to quarterbacks before. It especially will happen to a quarterback that hasn't played a whole bunch and things are kind of sped up. And then the fumble, you like I said, you want to hold on to the ball, but you're inside, you haven't played, and he's got two hands on the ball and they club it, and you know what I mean. That those are things that happen. Now, do you want to get used to that? No. Do I think that Jack Tuttle is a repeat offender of those types of things? I don't think so. But we have to see. We got to need more information. He only played this one, game. But I don't think that he's a guy. From what I saw with his eyes, what I saw with getting to the right guy in the pass game, getting to his checkdowns, him protecting the ball in the run game, he's not going to be a repeat offender of those things. However, he has to make sure that he doesn't, right? He doesn't keep turning the ball over, because then you're back at square one, right? You're back where you were with Davis Warren, which you didn't want. And it feels like this is in the middle, because Jack Tuttle's not going to go mistake-free and not turn the ball over. But he's also not going to go throw 6 picks in 2 games. You know what I mean? Well, that's not something that I don't think he...
Yeah, and he gives you what we saw.
And he's not afraid. He's got real courage.
Yeah, he's going to give you...
He's grown. He's a grown-up.
Yeah.
He played like a grown-up is what he did. We need a grown-up. He's a grown-up. He's played football. And whether his talent and maybe Davis is a better thrower, maybe, I don't know. Maybe Orji's a better runner, maybe. But neither of them are grown-ups in what we're trying to get them to do at this level of football. He's a grown-up. He's played, he's failed, he's had some success. That's the guy that needs to be the quarterback. And obviously, I'm sure that there's no question that he's going to get this whole bye week, take every single rep with the ones, make sure that, number one, your start. Because if I'm Jack Tuttle and I want some stats, because I'm sure, I'm sure he's ready to start his life. However, playing football for money is good, right? And if you want to, you got to drive the ball down the field, and he's going to have some opportunities with a guy who's super talented.
Well, you're going to need a quarterback who can help make the receivers right, and help make the offensive line right.
Yeah.
So
because there are a lot of leak throughs again. I think they played better. It was nothing like to write home about, like, oh, they played so good, but they didn't play terrible. But still, at critical moments, guys get through, and it's just not. You can't have that. Even for Alex Orji, the one time, it's a third down, and the guy just comes free, and he shakes him and whatever, and then he gets outside, and he has the guy down the field. Remember we talked about eyes up while we're doing our deal. He has Ronnie Bell's brother down the field open. But he's trying to do his thing. Like I said, he's things are moving fast. And at the last second, he sees, oh, I'm not going to be able to run and get it. Oh, he's up, but it's too late. You know what I mean? So, but he's under siege right away. And if you're going to have to get to a passing game, he just wasn't the guy for it. And but Jack Tuttle, a little more poised, right? You saw him in those second, third play opportunities within a play. Okay, leakage, great, deal with it. Eyes up, touchdown. Right, or a completion, and that's what this offense has missed, and that's what this team has missed. And I think they have it now. Now he has to stay healthy. He has to make sure that he continues to play this way. He has to continue to get more and more comfortable because we know it's at the end of the road. But he has a lot of time. He has a lot of time at the end of the road to make sure that Michigan's in position to have it. Now they can't control it all. There's one loss is not damning anymore. Right, it's not a suicide. It's not the end
in league.
No, in all of it, right? Because if you win the league, you're automatically in the playoffs. So one loss in league.
Yeah, okay, that's what I said.
Yeah, one loss in league one loss in league does nothing to you outside for the national championship. Because if you go win the championship of your league, you're in. No matter what you're ranked and how people think about you, you're in, right? So. One loss, it's not the end, right? It's not the end. And so they can continue to win. And like I've always talked about, Ohio State is as good as because this is what it's about. So this is always what it's about. How good are you going to be to beat them? Period. Like I talked about 3 years ago, I'm talking about it today. They are as good as they're going to be. They're good. Very, very good. There's not really another level I don't think they can get to. Running back, both of them, outstanding, playing amazing. Quarterback, taking care of the ball, playing really good. Looking like the best receiver in the country, at least one of three. One of three. Yeah, I think he's top 3 receiver. The way he's playing and the way he's dominating other people's children, and he just got out of high school. The big guy, you know who I'm talking about.
Jeremiah Smith.
Oh, my goodness. He is amazing.
He's like Odell Beckham out there.
He looks like Julio Jones. Remember that name? He looks like Julio Jones. But if Julio Jones had already played for the Falcons and then came back to play for Ohio State, that's what he looks like. It looks amazing, and there's nowhere to go, right? So if you're at the top, you can only go down. Michigan has so far they can go, right? And every week, improvement, find a way to win, improvement, find a way to win, and then you find yourself Thanksgiving weekend, ready to roll. And that's the goal. So, whatever's happened in the past, they're still in a position. They can't, like I said, they can't control all of it by themselves. They need help in certain situations. And if other teams do whatever, but I trust that if they don't lose another game and get to Ohio State and put themselves in a position to win that game, they're going to go to the Big Ten championship. And if you beat Ohio State because of what everybody thinks of them, even if you don't win the Big Ten championship, I think you're in, honestly. So we'll see.
All right. We need to get to a break. If you have questions for DG, you can start lining them up in the chat. We got to come back on the other side. We'll dig deeper into the specifics of the driving force report for one Mr. Jack Tuttle, because here's the interesting thing. It's great that he's in a bye week getting ready for Illinois because you want an extra week.
Man, Illinois is so tough. I've talked about Washington scared me, but Illinois scared me worse. However, I'm a little less scared because now you got a grown up.
And
Right.
you got an extra week.
Extra week and a grown up.
Extra week to really work on it. So this is
Corey Parker ain't playing no games.
Right.
He trying to kill them.
I hear you. All right. We need to get to a break. More with our Monday morning quarterback, Devin Gardner, on the other side here on the Michigan Insider on the Big 1050 WTKA, online at the Big1050.com.
Clear on the radio.
All right, folks. So Grand Traverse Resort and Spa. See the rolling hills of Grand Traverse Resort.
I hate comments. I don't like comments like this. Stop saying it as if they cheated, man. It's legal to buy a roster. Just our boosters and fans should do the same thing. Like, it's not illegal. Stop that's what they do. Michigan doesn't do that, right? If it's within the rules and they're doing it, we need to do it too. Right? Get on the phone, get on the horn.
Michigan is there's some possibilities.
Hey, all I'm saying is get on the horn and make sure that we can buy the best roster money can buy too, so that we can be in that position. Like don't hate.
There are some possibilities. Maybe it can work out one day.
One day.
Where Michigan winds up.
But the answer isn't complain about Ohio State. Get on the horn. Let's go. Get a pot going. Get a pot going. Hey, pass escalation pay, and don't be putting no chicken bones in there. Talking about, oh, my bad, I thought it was the trash. No, put money, donation. Donations. Don't be hitting on me. I thought it was the trash.
All right, hold on.
Yeah, some of the fans putting chicken bones. You got to put some money in there. Paper, the one that folds.
All right, DG.
But I'm sure they'll take the one that jingles.
Let me share this. Can you see the rolling hills of Grand Traverse Resort and Spa? Can you see the resort? Is that showing up on the screen? You can see the resort.
Yes, you can.
Can you see the tower, Mr. Weintraub, at Grand Traverse Resort and Spa? That golf course is going to stay open. Ira said he wouldn't be surprised if you can golf all the way into the month of December. It is possible, is it not, Mr. Weintraub?
It's definitely possible. It's really dependent upon the weather. I haven't looked at the weather up north as of late, but it seemed, well, I did actually look up as of late, and it's still like in the 60s up there. So, yeah, golf is going strong.
GrandTraverseResort.com to book your package. Of course, Devin is as am I, a huge proponent of the spa. Of course, he has not partaken in the pedicures, but the pedicures, the massages, the spa is outstanding.
Devastating.
The pool has the big water slide and the pool area for the kids. Big hit for them. The sports bar, all kind of bars throughout the place. The shops for you to partake in. It is a great getaway right here in the state of Michigan. The hotel, the original hotel has been fully renovated. The tower is outstanding. A great place to get away right here in the state of Michigan. No truer north than our friends at Grand Traverse Resort and Spa. All right. It is time when we come back for the Driving Force Report with our good friend DG. All right, DG. So, hey, by the way, if you have questions for DG, start putting them in the chat. I know I said that before, but we're going to get to the MMQA a little bit later after we get his Driving Force Report on one Mr. Jack Tuttle, who, like you said, I mean, there was the talk when they saw him throw. It's like, hey, man, he's gonna make things interesting, but just wasn't clear to be ready for contact action.
Mix it up.
Yeah, it wasn't clear for contact action, so couldn't really mix it up as far as being ready for prime time. But now obviously he is, and we'll see if they can get this offensive line ship shape. I think when they get Miles Hinton back, I really think they need to try Jeff Percy at right tackle. Mm-hmm. You gotta give him a shot.
20.
You gotta give him a shot.
Gotta give him a shot. I mean, not giving him a shot hasn't worked. So.
Right. I mean, I think that the center, or at center.
And I don't think he's so set as a left to not be able to play right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like usually some guys that are just left, they're left, but they're really good at left. You know what I mean? They're so good that there is no question of who's the left, but he's not that guy. He should be able to play on right too.
Back on radio in 5, 4, 3.
And we are back, folks, here on the Michigan Insider on the Big 1050 WTKA, online at the Big1050.com with our Monday morning quarterback, one Mr. Devin Gardner. It is time for the Driving Force Report by our friend Devin Gardner. The Driving Force Report brought to you by our friends at Golden Limo. If you have ground transportation needs, there is no better service than our friends at Golden Limo when it comes to getting around town, getting to their destination on time, every time. The Michigan football team rides on Golden. When we need to get to our destination on time, every time, we ride on Golden, whether it's airport transport, game day transport, whatever our transportation needs are. When we needed to travel abroad, we rode to the airport on Golden. When we landed in Rome, Golden picked us up. When we landed in Paris, Golden picked us up. If you're traveling domestically
From Flint, must be
or
nice.
internationally, Golden has you covered. They can handle whether it's luxury SUVs, up to sprinters, up to luxury motor coaches. Every level of ground transportation can be handled by Golden. And here is the kicker. If you want to support Michigan NIL at the same time, travel on Golden and just mention the Golden ticket when you book your ground transportation, and a portion of your transportation fee will go to Michigan NIL and also to a great veterans charity called Freedom River. That is the Golden Limo difference. Again, go to goldenlimo.com and be sure to mention the Golden ticket. It is time for the Driving Force Report. So, DG, I wanted to dig deeper into the skill set of one Mr. Jack Tuttle. You kind of touched on it a little bit, and the challenge that is before him, taking over a team midstream, because he's jumping in midstream, an offensive line that is challenged.
Leaves some more to be desired. A receiving core that doesn't have like an outside threat outside of Colston Loveland that has emerged, and now coming out of the bye, you're going to be facing one of the most difficult defensive schemes players
to deal with.
Yeah.
So now, like I told you to coach Orgy, now let's coach Jack Tuttle. And hey, man, you got to take this team over, and in very trying circumstances, you're getting ready to face a real challenging scheme at a tough time for this team.
So it's not physical what I will be coaching Jack Tuttle on. It is mental. Watch as much film as you possibly can. A perfect film maybe not perfect, but it's good just because of how not the style of offense, but the quarterback, because he runs around and does some things that Jack Tuttle's capable of. Kansas. See how they played them. What did he want? What did they want to do to stop them? And I think you'll have a better chance than Kansas just because of the run attack and how you'll be able to even out the box with your legs and all those different things. But see how they play a mobile quarterback, right? Because they do have some tales of when they're in zone and when they're in man. However, it's tough to see with everything going, and it's going to be at Illinois, and I'm telling you, it's going to be a circus there. All these schools are doing such a good job in their home games. You have to find out if you can get a tip on when they're going to be in man and when they're going to be in zone, because the motions, all those different things, that is going to screw you. They're going to motion a guy across. He's going to chase, and then that guy that chased is going to be 5 yards to the line of scrimmage and run and play the half, right? So, but if you can catch them in it, you know exactly what they're doing. You know exactly what throw to go to, and you can be super successful. And then you'll force them to try to be a little more vanilla, a little more safe, and I think that will really help. But their edges are really good, right? They have really good edges that rush the passer. I would give them a B- as a pass rush team, but it's the secondary that covers so well that gives them a real chance to get after the quarterback. And they're good in the run game, right? In the defensive run game. So I think that this is going to be the toughest task for Michigan this year outside of Texas. And they have a chance. But and on their offense, they've got a quarterback who is very similar. He's like, I don't want to say poor man's JJ, because that's kind of like, I guess that's technically an insult. but he's JJ, but maybe a step below. He's really talented, man. And similar to Tuttle, he's played a lot of football, and he's seen a lot, and he's much more mature this year. He's not turned the ball over nearly as much. So the defense is they got some talented wide receivers on the outside. The defense is going to be challenged yet again. And I wouldn't say he's as accurate as Rodgers, but with his legs, right, he's able to create all these plays. So I think it evens out. Right? I think he's just as good as Rodgers as far as going against our defense. But Jack Tuttle has to study and figure out when are they going to be in man and when they're going to be zone. And sometimes you're going to be wrong, but there is a tale that I figured out while I'm calling the games that when they're in man, when they're in zone, even though they chase. So, but I can't give that out. You know what I mean? He's got to figure that out. But if he figures that out, he can have real success because the middle of the field is open a lot of times. But the quarterback just can't get to it because of too much pressure. Aaron Henry, their defensive coordinator, firstly, he's going to be a head coach someday. He's very young and very energetic and very aggressive in the way that he calls defense. And from last year to this year, he's a much improved defensive coordinator as far as play calls are concerned. So it's a tough task because, like you said, just taking over, you don't really know everybody as well. I mean, he knows them, but he hasn't gotten the reps with the ones. That's why the bye week is perfect. And like I said, and maybe the coaches aren't going to do it and make it a priority. If hopefully somebody gets his message to him, you need to make number one when he's on the field and you catch them in man, make him a priority. Even though they do have talented cornerbacks, he's the guy that can create some separation, and he's got to get 4 shots, 4 opportunities to make a play. And if he catches 2 of the 4, we got to go throw 2 more. Right? You know what I mean? It's if he's 50%, that's exactly what we want.
So you what you saw on film, you like what you saw from Ryan.
Yeah, I loved what I saw. I love the ability. It's just he's not a priority, right? So, and then later in the game, he's in a couple times, and it's like he doesn't run as hard because he's not even getting looked at. And it's like, I get that, right? He still has some separation, but it's not what it would have been if he knows I'm going to be the first person. I'm the alert. Right. That's what, in football, you have these things called alerts. Right. So if you're running dagger, right, think of dagger where you have an inside guy who runs to blow the top off. Right. Take the safeties out and a dig on the outside. We talked about this in previous episodes last year, the year before with JJ. The alert is the guy blowing through the middle. Does he get the ball? Sam asked me. Actually, doesn't get the ball usually.
Does who get the ball?
The alert.
No.
The
alert
usually don't get it. However, you're supposed to look at it. And when you got a guy,
hit the alert a couple times.
That's what I'm saying. If you got a guy who is your alert, even though you're trying to get the dig open, or in some cases, like we saw in the game, you're trying to get the over open and clear out some space. When the alert is aggressive and fast and strong and talented, you got to really give it a real look. Right. And I understand throwing and completing balls underneath, but you can't turn down touchdowns if the alert is going to win on a regular basis. And I think that's the kind of receiver you can have with Walker. Now, is he going to make every single play? No, he hasn't seen himself make these plays just yet. And as much as everybody wants a receiver over the age of 17 to be able to make these plays, whether they've done it or not, because of the young guy at Alabama, that's not realistic. That kid is a freak. To come from high school, supposed to be doing your senior year of high school, and you come into college football making the plays that he's making in these big crunch situations, that's not normal, right? Most kids need time seeing themselves in real games making these plays so that they feel comfortable. And I'm sure that that's what's going to happen with Walker, but he'll never get comfortable, and we'll never be able to use that weapon if we don't give him a chance to make those plays, right? So he needs a shot. And the dig was impressive. Because remember, a few weeks ago when he's first getting his chances, he's falling down. It's just he looks like Bambi out there. And I've told the story of my first scrimmage in a big house where I was dominating in practice. And we got under the lights with no fans in the big house, and I felt like a baby deer. I felt like Bambi. Like my legs just didn't work. I couldn't, the pressure of performing, even though there weren't fans there, I think it was just families. It was weird. I'm like, man, what is my body doing? Because I've never felt like that, right? And so I imagine that's what it was for him because he looked comfortable in the opportunities that he had, and he needs more. He needs more because, having other guys out there that can't separate, it's a waste. It's a waste, and that's nothing against them, but this just isn't the offense where you can we don't have the super precise passer who knows his guys and everything is on time, and you don't really have a chance to cover it, even if you don't create separation because of the sharpness of the quarterback and the timing with the receiver. We're not in that position. There needs to be space, and obviously we know Colson Loveland is creating space, but we need another person that can create space. And it was very clear against a good back end and a good defensive coordinator that Walker can create space.
Yeah, I think continue to make sure that you get Khalil his touches or his carries. Don't lose sight of number 7 and focusing on a plan there. Felt like he's
gonna play even better because the threat of throwing the ball down the field is going to be there now. It's going to be a real threat because firstly, they have old film on Jack Tuttle, which, okay, we know that he can throw the ball down the field. And then an older version of that, I think that he's a good quarterback, a really good quarterback, and I think he'll have some respect. So firstly, they're going to stack the backs first, right? And then he's going to have to hit some downfield throws and whether it be 15, whatever, anything behind the linebackers. And then they'll start to back up. And that's where I think Donovan, a lot of those clear blocking lanes for the offensive line, and Donovan will have clear lanes, and he'll be able to use his explosive ability.
See, but I don't want to get away from what we've been saying about Donovan. I just – it shouldn't go back to
just running back,
just giving him the ball as a running back.
You're absolutely right. But in their defense, this past week, I will give them a pass in this last week, just because you get down quickly.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
And then you got to switch quarterbacks. And it's like, okay, all the fancy stuff we got with Dom, I'm sure they have it. We can't do that right now. We got to stay pretty base because this quarterback, who's an older quarterback, but he just hasn't played football a lot. And maybe you say, can you start inserting some of that? Like once you see he's comfortable, because he showed he was comfortable fairly quickly. Yeah. However, in the heat of the moment, in the heat of the game, you just scored on 3 straight possessions. You gotta do what you've been doing.
I'm talking about.
I'm just saying for everybody watching. Like, yeah, well, why not do that? No. You just scored 3 straight possessions doing what you're doing. I think you stick with that. There's not like, hey, we scored on 3 straight possessions after not scoring. Let's start doing something different with Donovan. No, this ain't the time. But now it's a bye week, so they'll be able to do something.
I'm talking about like with your plan where you say 4 shots to Marion. Yeah. Make sure part of your plan is
every coach I talk to, I ask them for their top guys, running back, whether it's a running back or receiver, whatever. Every coach, every week in meetings, I ask them, do you have a number in your head of how many times either it's targets, how many times you want to see the ball caught by a single person or runs by a person, or if it's a running back that has multi-skill, how many times we're going to get him in the passing game? I always ask those questions. Every coordinator, you have to have that. Now, for Michigan, it was just Colson Loveland, right? It needs to be Colson Loveland. This is how many we need to make sure we get. It needs to be Donovan, multiple different ways. It doesn't have to be 20. Right, but it needs to be a number. You need to have a clear number, and then I think Walker has to be added in there as a clear number of how many times. And I say 4 from Omarion, 4 times. A number of times you want to get to a guy who is different, right? And we know Donovan is different. We know Colson Loveland is different, and I'm here to tell you right now, Omarion Walker is different.
Man, if Donovan, he saw the cutback. Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah. He didn't keep his shoulder square enough, and then just lost his footing. I know, and that happens, right? That's that, but it's just unfortunate because Michigan can't afford for that to happen right now, right? When you have those opportunities, you got to be able to hit them, and but in the course of a football game, it just happens sometimes. But you would have loved to see what he could do on a slipping safety who kind of slipped himself, and him being able to get on him running full speed from 15 yards away. I like to bet on number 7 in that case.
Yeah, that was a tough one because, right after that, and Ira pointed it out, was the fumble. And
on that fumble, because I wish everybody could see the all-22. Omarion got busy outside. He never even looked over there, which I understand because he's the clear out. He's the alert. And it's like, probably not going to throw the alert. And I really don't have time to be doing all that if you're thinking like Jack Tuttle. I'll be thinking the same thing. I ain't got time for that. You don't know if they're going to let him through. They be letting people through, man. I don't have time to go look at an alert that might not win. And I'm sure it wasn't even in his brain that he's in the game, right? Because he's just kind of subbing in. It needs to be more intentional when he comes in the game. The quarterback needs to know, hey, 1 is in the game. I need to be on alert that he could win. But he was just in a regular rotation, and I think he deserves for the quarterback to know. Because if I don't know if I've told you the story when we were playing South Carolina, right? We drove down. We're in the red zone. and then they call a Dino. Oh no, Razor. They call Razor, which is one me and Gallon practice this because it's off of a Dino. It's a route off of a route that we run. The one you show on dropping dimes when I throw it to him against Penn State, that's Razor, right? Like we were on that. I mean, we were on a lot of stuff, but the Razor was really good. They call it. I break the huddle, and it's kind of my fault, but I drop back without ever looking out there because I don't want to give the defense because I'm throwing it to Gallon. He's going to win. I'm going to throw it to him. And I get to the top of my drop, Sam, and it's Joe Reynolds. I like to lost it. I almost lost it. Why is Joe Reynolds in the game? And I love Joe Reynolds. Joe Reynolds knows I love him. I remember Joe Reynolds coming in the game against Ohio State. Gallon, something happened, and I threw it to him on the third down to convert, and against Notre Dame. I remember that. However, why is Joe Reynolds in this game? I lost it. It better not happen again. And obviously it didn't happen again. And we continued and me and Gallon lit them up. But yeah, sometimes some receivers you need to know when they're in the game. And for Gallon, it was he shouldn't be out the game if you're going to call this play. Right. I love Joe Reynolds, not throwing Razor to Joe Reynolds. I have to throw this ball away now because I just looked out there and I got a guy that this is just not his deal. But trusted him in most other instances, but that just wasn't his deal. And so he needs to know for sure if the personnel needs to be called Zebra Walker or regular Walker or 12 Walker, whatever it needs to be called to let the quarterback know that Walker's in the game and that all these sails and deep crosses and different things like that, where or even dagger, when the alert, those types of plays, when the alert is just an alert, a regular alert, he needs to know it's a real alert now. This is live bullets. You need to make sure if it's there, throw it and give him a shot.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be interesting to see from a leadership perspective. This is one of those times, man. They haven't had this experience losing games. Number one, losing 2 games. Yeah. Number two,
defense not playing well. That's foreign.
Yeah, and this it's a recipe though, because the defense after the slip, they get the ball back to Washington. Washington's driving, and the defense gets for all the issues that the defense had in pass coverage. They get the ball back.
Yeah, they find a way.
They find a way to get the ball back. Ernest Hausman, who has since the Texas game, because the linebackers were struggling, and he was struggling mightily to the point where there was a lot of talk about Jimmy Rollers about to move into the sideline, and that dude has been the most improved player maybe on the team since the Texas game. He's been lights out. Yeah. But maybe one example last week where he lined up wrong and Minnesota scored a touchdown. That's maybe the one thing that I could pick out. He gets an interception. Mm-hmm. Michigan gets right back on the field, and then the fumble happens. Yeah. And it's like
it's sad. I mean, it's hard. It sucks, but I'm not. There's no way I would. I mean, obviously, Tuttle is to blame technically, but I'm not about to jump on his back about that. It's a good play by them, and he's trying to protect the ball. It's not like he's all willy nilly, one hand on the ball, doing this crazy stuff, right? He's getting tight and he got the ball out, right? Happens to the best of us, but that does suck, right? That does suck. And so for his defense, you need to know where number 13 is. Pat Bryant. He nice receiver. He one of the nicer receivers that nobody talks about in college football. And they have another guy, I can't think of his name right now. He wears number 4, really, really talented too. But Pat Bryant has taken the next step from a year ago. He was really good last year, but this year he's taking that next step. So we need to make sure. And this offense doesn't function as well if he's not getting the ball. And it's not because he's like a bad teammate or anything like that. It's just it's not as smooth, right? It's not as unpredictable when he's not getting the ball. So I remember a 3rd and 1, they threw it up to him to make a play. And it was just like, wow, early in the game too against Nebraska, and he makes the play. So he's used to making plays. He's seen himself make these plays over and over again. Make sure that he's taken away. I would go as far as to allowing Will to follow him, right? Allow Will to follow him and just and cover him and frustrate him, because I think if you take him away, it kind of slows down what Illinois is able to do on offense.
All right. We need to go ahead and call it a day on the radio. For those of you who are staying with us in the stream, we'll get to the MMQA where Devin will answer your questions. Folks, we need to get out of here. As we do, though, I want to let those of you who are in the market for a new vehicle know that the best place to get your new Ford is Brighton Ford. Did you know you can turn in any Ford lease into Brighton Ford? They'll even pick up your current lease and deliver your new lease to your door. Now, Brighton Ford has 4 mobile service vans to perform oil changes, do recall work, and even light maintenance at your home or work. It's another way to provide the best service before and after the sale. 1-800-NEW-FORD is the official Ford sponsor for the Big 1050 WTKA. We'll see you on the other side. Thanks for watching the Michigan Insider, the Big 1050 WTKA, online at thebig1050.com.
And we are clear on the radio.
Literally, you finish your last word and 3 seconds later, 10 o'clock.
Yeah, there you go.
You a pro, boy.
There you go.
Hey, from Flint.
All right.
From Flint. And you got hearses and all kind of stuff taking you places, carrying your bags. You went to Paris, Rome, all this. Do you understand that you from Flint, Sam? You ain't supposed to be able to do all that stuff.
This is funny.
Congratulations, man. And don't forget to use code 2strap Sam for all things.
They have never heard of any such code up at Grand Traverse Resort, by the way.
You sure?
I'm positive. So, hey, folks, I've been saying, if you have questions for DG, put them in the chat. I am going to start getting to them momentarily.
While you look for some, I got one. What do I think about Vanderbilt's quarterback, Pavia? He's exactly who he was. And why couldn't we run the offense? Well, Pavia is a little more seasoned. People don't know. They know about him now because he just beat Alabama. But last year he beat Auburn with New Mexico State, right? So he's been getting busy. I used to do a Gardner group of 5 for the group of 5 players that play really well, 5 guys the week before, and he was on there regularly, rushing and passing. So he's a real problem for any defense, and nobody really knew about him. They know about him now, but Bama should have known because their rival in their own state suffered at his hands with the lesser roster. And you go to Vanderbilt, which is not a great roster, but it's just better. And you got a guy that can run and pass, and that's what you'll get.
All right, let's start knocking down the questions. Here's the first one. Lester Zier says, DG or Sam, I don't think it's as much the narrative of it's the 6th game and already on the 3rd quarterback as much as Tuttle was always their guy but was hurt. What say you?
I don't know. He should have been the guy, but he didn't play in the spring. He didn't do anything. Or nobody talked about him. So, I mean, and Sam, maybe you have something on that.
Yeah, he was. Look, I think that
I thought he had retired.
No, I think they knew he would be back at some point, but what was some point? Yeah. What was some point? So
you can't really hit your wagon to maybe he'll be back. I mean,
right. I think you could say this. I think that there was, at best, things didn't go according to plan with their assessment of
Davis or in the orgy, yeah.
Or at worst, a really bad misjudgment.
I hope not.
Miscalculation.
I hope it was not. I hope he was definitely the guy for sure.
You talking about with Tuttle?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
it was definitely a miscalculation on the orgy Warren situation. That was clear miscommunication, miscalculation
of what they had.
Yeah, 100%. That wasn't. Yeah, that's not even a question. The question I would think everybody would wonder is, was he the guy for sure? It was just that he was hurt, because that would be a huge misjudgment of like, who's our best guy? It shouldn't have, at this point, the way he played this past week, it's like, should it even have been a competition if he was healthy? But I don't know if he was or not. I don't know,
right.
If, all that stuff. But like I said, I thought he retired. I thought he was doing football and like coaching, so, but it was good.
Well, he was the backup last year for a reason.
That's what I'm saying.
He was the backup last year for a reason.
And he had some in-house stuff that he did that got him in trouble. And he, was like third, but he was really always the backup type of deal, but I mean, he's he's a solid guy. He's just a little practice stuff.
All right, to the next one. This is a good question. Why not Percy at left tackle and Hinton at right tackle when Hinton gets healthy? I mean,
The one thing I would say is Hinton's been playing left tackle. So it's just like the one guy that hasn't truly been playing left tackle in games is Percy. So I would say,
well, Percy's been playing left tackle with Hinton out.
but I'm talking about Hinton has been in. So when he's not in, what is he playing? Percy. When Hinton is in, what is Percy playing?
When Hinton is in, he hasn't been playing.
Exactly. He's on the bench. So who's been playing left tackle more? Let Hinton stay at tackle instead of moving him to a new position coming off injury and just allow the person that is more of a Swiss Army knife because he hasn't been playing to get to right tackle.
Yeah. You kind of
or on the other side, somebody would say, well, Hinton has been playing. So maybe he's more comfortable going over there.
Somebody.
Anybody.
I don't even care.
Throw Sam out there for the work. You got some eligibility to love, don't you?
I don't even care. They got to try something.
Yeah.
They got to try something at this point right now. So, Sean D, you touched on this. I played running back in college. If you cut off your inside foot, you can slip easily. He was a little too excited talking about Donovan's.
Donovan is an athlete where he doesn't do anything the way it's supposed to be done, if that makes sense, right? You're supposed to cut off your right foot. He can cut off his left. And that was Denard too, right? The talented guys, you can't be so that's for us normal humans, right? We can't be super critical of he tried to cut off this foot or whatever because we've watched him hit his head on the goalpost when he cuts on the wrong foot because he just can. You know what I mean? Now, you would love him to train himself to do it the correct way so things like that don't happen. But usually, and this is usually, you get a guy that's super talented. Think about Ryan Walker, right? Ryan Walker against Georgia. How did he get to that spin move? I'm sure it was off the wrong leg. I don't know how he did it. However, he's an athlete of a different caliber. So you don't try to bog him down and say, hey, if you're this step, you need to be on this foot and this whatever. You kind of just let him go out and you try to, you hope that they would, get into their craft and learn which foot to cut off and scientifically what's the best way. Ryan Williams, whatever his name is. I mean, he's amazing. He's amazing. And he cuts off the wrong foot, all these different things, spins, and you shouldn't be able to do that. Your body shouldn't be able to do that, but he can. So
him and Jeremiah Smith they don't seem like
Jeremiah Smith the thing is for Williams, he looks like a kid. Like his body size, his structure, his face, all the way he just he looked like he playing recess when he out there. The other guy looks like a grown man, like he's been there for 5 years and he finally just now getting his chance. Jeremiah Smith looks like he's been there for 5 years. He's always been a dog, but maybe he's had some nagging injuries and now he finally gets to play. So he knows the offense. He knows what he needs to do. He's got confidence and he's big as heck. It looks like he's been in the weight room for 3 or 4 years. So they're different, but still same somehow, right? Different, but same. One guy looks like a grown man and plays like a grown man. The other guy is supposed to be in high school, is only 17 years old, won't be 18 until February, and dominating college football.
Yeah, he
wasn't his fault they lost that game.
Yeah, he physically overwhelms guys. Where Ryan Williams is just an unbelievable acrobat.
Dude, he looked like he needed to be in a Universal circus.
Yeah,
he's amazing.
Yeah,
and then this guy to see Smith just hold this dude off and reach up with one hand, and then you know what I love? You know what I love after because DB always do a little extra, keep on he holding on, still trying to fight. He pushed him off with such violence, and it's just ugh, usually don't see a freshman doing that. At receiver, that's the attitude you need to have. Why are you touching me? You knew I was going to catch it anyway. Stop messing up my pictures and my highlights. Get off me. Oh, man, that was good. But, they're only down from there for those guys. They are good. You look at the score against Iowa, and it's 7-0 half. I'm like, oh, yeah. And then literally 3 minutes into the second half, 28-zip. I'm like, God, dog. What the heck happened? Well, Jeremiah Smith happened. I guess they wised up and said, this will probably just throw it to Jeremiah Smith.
All right. On to the
what's really cool since you were looking at about the Jeremiah Smith thing? They always have these good wide receivers, these first rounders, but every other first rounder had to rate their turn because of the other first rounders. And they have guys that could be first rounders on the roster right now. And for this kid to come in and be the clear best receiver and option on their team, that's even better than Marvin Harrison. That's better than Chris Olave, all those guys, because he hasn't waited 1 second. From the very first time he stepped on the field, he was dominant. So he's going to be a problem.
Yep.
At this point, we're just going to tackle him.
Yeah.
Just tackle him at the line of scrimmage.
Better be getting fast in a hurry. All right. Why you got these people saying this promo code 2 straps? That is not a real promo code, Steve.
And if you add Flynn in there, you might get a little bit more off.
All right. Jonathan G. He wants some accountability. He said, don't want to hear anything except how the coaches failed. I went back and watched the Urban Meyer Tebow team beat Alabama, and they didn't panic with a quarterback who cannot throw the ball. They found a way to win. Damn it.
He ain't lying. However, they aren't Urban Meyer. They aren't. Sharon's not Urban Meyer, and whoever their offensive coaches were, that Kirk Campbell's not them. They don't have the experience to get to that. And remember, Tim Tebow was a plan that they had planned for years, right? They continued to plan it, right? First they saw what they get in high school. All right, bet. All right, let's give them a little bit, make them a part of the offense. Not really a thrower, jump pass, stuff like that. Okay, we know what we got. And they had much more time to develop their plan, even if they hadn't had experience. But Urban Meyer obviously had experience before that. So you can't expect Sharon Moore. Now, I expected them to realize that Davis Warren was not the best option. However, that's in the past. You can't expect them to have a real plan. Like we talked about, they had a plan for Davis Warren. It just failed, right? They don't have the necessary background to feel comfortable and have a real plan for a Tim Tebow-like quarterback.
Yeah.
They just don't, right? And it's hard. It's not like it's easy. It's hard. Now, honestly, they should have called Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer would have helped him out probably.
I think it's fair to say, I do feel like it's fair to say, I could see the Davis Warren plan. I couldn't see the Alex Orji plan.
Oh yeah, the plan for Davis Warren was very clear. That's what that was their plan. He just threw the ball to the other team too many times.
Yeah.
So they never had a plan. It was like, all right, let's try to get out of this USC game and like maybe try to build a plan. And they started to, but when you get into a game with Washington and you have Tuttle healthy, it's like, we really don't want to do this anyway. And let's see what Tuttle has, because we're down 14 and we're going to have to pass the ball because it doesn't look like Washington's going to slow down offensively.
Yeah, I think it was, you're still trying to figure out the Alex Orji plan.
And you can't do it when you're down 14. Yeah. And honestly, I don't know how he would have played and if they get to all the drop back and all that. Because like I said, his feet nods were in the right place for the opportunities he had. He did well getting away from pressure when he had it. I don't know how he plays, but like I said, Washington's plan was perfect. So if he's not going to throw the ball down the field,
I just don't know. I just don't know to be able to do. Like I just don't know that they ever would have been able to commit fully enough, because I think you would have to give him, like I said, you had to give him like 5 or 6 quarterback runs.
He needed 15, honestly.
I think you would need to give him like 5 or 6 at least RPOs a game too, and that's just not them.
Yeah, it's never been them. Remember, they had JJ McCarthy, first round quarterback, really good. And I bet you when he starts playing in Minnesota, they're gonna have RPO in there, right? And they just never. That's not who they are. And the thing is, like I talked about, it's you gotta know the RPO game. Like if you're not an RPO coach by trade, like Rich Rod, he's an RPO coach, so he was so innovative with the different styles. And Urban Meyer, I don't know. He's the RPO coach, right? He invented the jump pass, right? That's an RPO. And so if you're not that guy, it's hard to just now. I got to give Borges a lot of credit. He wasn't an RPO coach, in my opinion, and he became one and became good at it. But he's the guy that's filling up a whole manila folders and pads with every single grade for every single player on a team he's not coaching. So he's crazy. He's cynical about it. He's insane. He is really going to do too much homework. He doesn't have a life. It's ridiculous. He's ridiculous. He doesn't have a life. Borges is crazy. And so most coordinators aren't going to be like that. They're not going to be obsessive in that way. Now, you would want them to because they're getting paid quite a bit. But he is a different case. So I don't think he's an RPO guy. He did some of it in his, before, but he wasn't an RPO guy. He was a West Coast drop back, play action pass, timing guy. And he made himself into an RPO guy because he's a psychopath.
I think that's an accurate assessment.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you can't even argue that. And honestly, all he gonna do is do like this. Look, here. He can't argue it though, because he ain't no liar.
Hey, Mike G has a shout out to Grand Traverse Resort. He said the tower be nice, Sam. It absolutely is not. But listen, the original hotel is really nice too. They just renovated it like a couple of years ago. It's as nice as the tower now. So wherever you stay at Grand Traverse Resort is super, super nice, by the way. Let's go back. You said you haven't watched any of the defensive tape.
No.
Says Javon May says Jair Hill is becoming a liability, and that's hard to say. Yeah, they're look, it's tough sledding being the corner opposite.
They just at you. But the thing is, man, it could be Miles Purchase plays corner for man. I can't even remember who I just had. Who did I just have? Ira.
You had the Friday night game?
No, I had Saturday.
Oh, I just saw the suit. I didn't even know you were. I just saw the suit.
Iowa State and Baylor. So Baylor in the beginning of the game, Miles Purchase, he just got a club off. I'm talking about they are tearing him a new one. He got pass interference penalties over and over again. They catching balls on him, all these different things. And he adjusted so well and ended up getting a bunch of PBUs and really dominating the game after they kept attacking him. So it's an opportunity, but you gotta make the plays, or they're just gonna keep attacking you, and now you're gonna get pass interferences, you're gonna get balls caught on you, and you're gonna lose all your confidence. If you know the ball's coming to you, I relish in that opportunity. If I'm a cornerback, right? Please, thank goodness I'm getting all this work because I'm trying to go be a pro, right? That's what all these kids are trying to do. Yes, I want the ball thrown at me. I need everybody to see how good I am, and you have to take on that challenge. So I didn't watch him. I don't know what happened, but I knew he's going. Everybody knew he's going to get the ball thrown at him. He needs to be ready, and if he's not, somebody needs to get in there that can hold their own and has that kind of attitude of, hey, I love that they're throwing the ball at me because I'm about to make a name for myself.
Mm-hmm. Got a couple of questions in a row from Andres Martinez and Munir. So Andres Martinez, so if Michigan wanted to run in the red zone, they should have brought Orgy back in. Munir Udden said, Orgy packages in the red zone. These were back-to-back. Do you agree with that from those two?
I think that Orgy should have the same role that he did a year ago. If you wouldn't put him in last year in the red zone, I don't think you should. I think Jack Tuttle has a capable running. I think as far as power and speed, he's not as good a runner, but Jack Tuttle got some juice. I remember the day I talked about with you.
He gives you some of that.
Remember I talked about the day when I saw Marion Walker with the sled on him, and they're running. Jack Tuttle was in that mix too, and he had a shot. I said, "Who is this dude?" And it's like, "That's Jack Tuttle." I said, "Whoa."
Here's why you might want to do it though. The dude is a 7th-year guy for a reason. Like,
I get that. However, you got to win these football games.
You got to win these football games, but you like, as much as you wanted to, maybe they were trying to keep hits off of Alex. You really are trying to keep hits off of
Sam. It's not the time for that. We're not good enough. You got to go out on your sword, and on your sword is now. Obviously, there are ways to protect. Like I said, they took JJ out sometimes last year to put Orgy in and play. All I'm saying is, if you wouldn't have taken JJ out last year, don't do it this year with Tuttle. And so I don't want it to be, we get in the red zone, put Orgy in. No. Our best weapon at quarterback is Jack Tuttle. We have to have our best weapon on the field, and because, like I said, they don't have room for a lot of error. Like they just don't. Period. Like Baylor, that's what I had this past week. Very talented, lighten it up. Don't got room for error. You get a punt blocked, you're probably gonna lose. Nip and tuck.
Here's what we
margins.
know.
You got to win in the margins. If you have those mistakes, it's not gonna happen for you.
They can't throw the ball if you don't have. They couldn't throw the ball without Jack Tuttle. So it's like you got to have this dude.
Yeah. Because think about this: you get in the red zone, Orgy package. What are they gonna do? Stack the box, and he still hasn't gotten super comfortable, right, in making these throws in these big time moments. Now, like I talked about, he was improving, and his feet and eyes were in the right place, and those would have been completions had they not got batted down the line of scrimmage. However, you got a guy that can make those throws. So I wouldn't mess around with, hey, let's do the red zone package for only Orgy. Now, Deuce package with both of them in the game. So now we got issues. Now they got to decide, because Tuttle was a talented athlete. I'm telling you, when I was at this workout, I'm like, oh my goodness, he was right with JJ. I'm talking about acceleration out the wazoo, 25-pound sled on you, and I'm like, man, who is it? And I'm thinking, like, who is this white kid like running like this right next to Orgy, right next to JJ? And I'm just like, man, this is crazy. And they're like, that's Jack Tuttle. I said, Jack Tuttle can run like that? It was super impressive. So Jack Tuttle, no, he needs to be in the game when they're in, or Orji should play whenever, they see fit. And, it's not, but I don't think it's a mandatory thing that you go Orji in the red zone.
All right. Time for the next question for DG. This one, Kobe Nichols said, Washington didn't beat us. We made too many mistakes. Washington is good, but we're giving them too much credit. Do you agree with that?
Who's giving Washington a bunch of credit?
Maybe he's talking about the people in the chat. I don't know.
Oh yeah, I don't know. So I can't answer that. I don't know. I didn't give Washington too much credit. All I know is their quarterback's really good. He proved that, and he's proved it all year. It's not just against Michigan. He proved it all year. The running back's really good, and I didn't watch it, but I'm sure he played really well and was very consistent and allowed them to have balance. And their defense is what it is, right? I said that they would be very clear on their. I told them that I would personally, mix it up a little bit more in disguise, and they didn't. They didn't do a whole bunch of disguise. They played the way they play, and like I said, that they might do that because it's a Belichick, right? He's gonna do. He believes his plan works, and but their plan of not really rushing the quarterback was the game changer, where you essentially waste 3 series just because anytime you get anything over 3rd and 4, you got to drop back or whatever, and they're much rushing and jumping them, batting the ball down. I mean, that's exactly what it was. I don't think we're giving them too much credit. I think you're getting the credit they deserve.
So this kind of gets into the next question, because people were wondering, is his motion bad? Go Blue says, Orji has a weird throw motion. He basically sidearms it, so a lot of balls get batted.
No,
and
wrong.
Tuttle is a lot better. So
wrong. Now what happened? If you go watch the game, and that's why the whole tall thing, not a big deal, because Joe Flacco get his ball batted, and he's a giant, and he got long neck, long arms, whatever, high release. But if you can see me on here, mush rush is I'm a defensive tackle, I'm a defensive end, I'm a blitzer, whatever. I go, I distract the tackle, right? I keep him busy, but all the while I'm just looking, right? I'm just looking to wait to see what he throws, and when he starts to throw, I throw my hands up, right? It's that has nothing to do, because if he comes over the top, now he's gonna set, because some people aren't over the top throwers, right? And that whole you need to throw over the top has been completely debunked by so much research and Tom House and all those different things. Everybody's slot is different. Now, some guys are a little more over the top. Those guys aren't very good. Think about it. In today's football, there's not a single quarterback, in my opinion, that's completely over the top that's good. It's usually 3/4. Some people are a little lower than 3/4. Some people are in between over the top and 3/4. But there's nothing wrong with his motion. The balls are getting batted because they can see him throwing.
All right. Time for the next one for DG. All right. So kind of an offshoot of other questions for DG. Do you think, this is just an opinion, do you think the swap to Tuttle was the plan all along, and Orji and Warren were just the placeholders for them that might explain the reluctance to adjust the scheme for Orji?
That's an interesting point of view, and I hope so. I hope that's what it was. I hope they didn't look at that situation and say Jack Tuttle's not our guy, because that would be criminal. That would be malpractice. How that's what you call it. That would be coaching malpractice. If you didn't have that plan all wrong and you wouldn't lean into Orji because of what you knew would happen eventually, that would be coaching malpractice if that wasn't the plan. So I don't know that for a fact, but that's a great observation, and I hope that 100% was the plan, and the coaches deserve some credit for that if it was.
All right. The next one from Larry McCall. Can DG explain all the slipping? Seemed to be just Michigan.
I don't know. I wasn't there. So, I mean, if I was there and I could see the surface, because, sometimes a little slippery, that is their home field, right? So you would imagine that if they have a surface that's a little more slick, they will be the ones that don't slip, because they practice on it all the time. And, sometimes the moment's too big and that's why you slip. And sometimes you just slip. I wasn't a big slip guy, right? I can't remember a whole bunch of times where I just slipped in a big moment or something like that. But, sometimes moment's too big. Sometimes you just slip. I mean, it's not always an explanation, especially if there's not real inclement weather and stuff like that.
You have any opinions?
Some turfs are a little more slick though, by the way.
You got any opinions on defense? You want to skip defensive questions?
I didn't watch them, so I can,
Okay.
that would be disingenuous to like give an opinion. All I know is I told you the quarterback was good.
Yeah, all right.
What was the stat line, the quarterback?
I think he threw for 3 something.
Damn.
Threw for 3 something. I mean, it was
bombs over back. Yeah, my goodness.
Their zone pressures were
cross-check and all call.
You could see.
This is your captain speaking.
They have very poor. They were too leaky in their zone coverages.
Oh yeah, 21-31, 271, 2 touchdowns. That's about right. I wonder what his interception looked like, but yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
I mean, play well.
Yeah. So Jermaine Canute says, why don't we run more bunch sets versus man? It's the easy way to create separation.
And the one thing that added in, Damon Williams, they do a good job of using him. And he was 2 for 2 for 44 yards and 5 carries, 20 yards. So he added some in what they were trying to do.
That's what put him over 300.
I don't love the switching out of the quarterbacks, but they do a good job of it. And Damon Williams is always positive plays. Like he's a good runner, right? So if Orji had that skill that Damon Williams got, we cooking with high grease. Because now that is a red zone package is used because he's a dynamic runner. You know what I mean? And he has a good feel for running the football like a running back would. And so they do a really good job with that. And we could, if Orji gets to that point, we could kind of steal some of that.
Jermaine Canute says, why don't we run more bunch sets versus man? It's the easy way to create separation.
It's it's just easy way to create separation. It's not easy way, right? Just bunch what? Bunch shallow cross, bunch X shallow, bunch mesh. Like what bunch? You just saying bunch, right? Bunch formation. That the bunch formation is not what it gets guys open. It's the concept that you have out of the bunch and how you run it and timing and different things like that. And maybe they just aren't a bunch team, right? They don't have adequate concepts that they're comfortable with out of bunch sets. So I mean, you can't just say it's easy versus man on bunch sets, because I watched bunch sets not create problems this past weekend, and Baylor got blown out because they kind of leaned on it a little bit versus the man-to-man defense of Iowa State, and Iowa State played well. So, and that's Baylor got a talented quarterback.
It said, Larry McCaw says, why does Donovan seem to run better with Tuttle in?
Well, because you at least they saw fairly quickly that he would go through his reads and get the ball out, right? He got the ball out quickly. He showed real variety. He got the ball out quickly, right? He went through his reads, threw the ball down the field some, and then he created as a runner. And so when you do that, now the linebackers are a little more hesitant, and they create those winner blocks, not to mention his running ability too, right? So now you got Orji plus throwing. Right. Plus, whether Tuttle is a significantly better thrower than Orji or whatever, and I'm saying thrower, not passer. I think he's a much better passer. But as far as thrower, they didn't know how good of a passer he was initially, but they know he's an equivalent thrower. But he also adds in his legs, right? So it's the same kind of deal. And like we talked about, Donovan, when he has daylight and is blocked well, he is as good as anybody in the country. Right, it's just still something to be desired when it's not blocked so well, right? And a perfect example is Iowa State. They have a kid named Abu Sama who is a home run hitter if there ever was one at the running back position. However, they have an older guy that transferred in that's just a better runner for their offensive line. They don't create a new line of scrimmage. They don't get a bunch of knockback. And so when you have a more patient guy that's seen more fronts and he understands how to run, he's just a better option. Not to say that Abu Sama is not a better running back than this other kid, but he's just not poised enough. He hasn't had the reps to understand pace and different run schemes and different things like that. However, his talent is unquestionable, and that's what you have in Donovan Edwards.
All right, on to the next one.
It's so funny how college football is so similar all around. You know what I mean? We're like, Iowa State's got similar issues, right? They got a guy who's super dynamic and then a guy that runs a little better with the offensive line that they have. It's just, he was amazing last year, and this year he's not as good because the offensive line just isn't as good. You know what I mean? And it happens everywhere. So it's just up to coaches to figure out, what do we have this year? What do we have now? I know what we want to do. I know what we have done, but how can we make it work now? And the coaches that figure that out, those are the ones that have real success.
All right. A lot of people wondering, how would you use, it's too many of them to put up. They said, how would you use Orji now? How would you use
same role he had last year? So he came in every once in a while and ran quarterback, whatever to do, and I think he's I think he's a better version of what he was last year because he's had more reps. So now you can have the real threat of sometimes throwing the ball in those situations that you use him in. And yeah, I think his role is the same as last year. Similar to Donovan's role is the same as last year. In my opinion, it should be this year.
All right, let's go back to it. Don M. One loss. Do you really think they could beat Oregon and Ohio State? Ohio State is the best team money can buy. Bought and paid for by the boosters and fans. DG, do you really think?
Yeah, I already addressed that. Stop with that's the complaint. Stop trying to act like it's illegal. And I think that they can, but they have to, you know what I mean? They have to get better. You know what I mean? Like, was I unclear about where Michigan can go, right? They can go as high as they want to. And Oregon is not like some formidable opponent where it's just like, oh no, what are we going to do? It's Oregon. No, that's not the case. That's not the case at all. And Michigan, and now Ohio State looks that formidable, right? That's the fact. They look that formidable, like, oh my goodness, that's going to be tough. But nobody else looks like, oh, there's no way Michigan can do it. What? They have a quarterback that can run and throw. If you have a quarterback that can run and throw and not turn it over, you have a chance, period, against anybody. Exhibit A, Vanderbilt in Alabama. Vanderbilt has a chance because they have a quarterback that can run and throw. You're a problem if you can run and throw. A problem, especially if you can throw adequately. If you can pass. I should actually say if you can run and pass. Because Pavia can run and pass, not just a thrower. And Chuttle has made it clear he can run and pass. So
all right. So DG. Well, first of all, I think this is Job 1925 says, I appreciate DG's optimism, but I'm a realist. DG. Not happening for Michigan this season. Cancel the rest of the season, DG. It's over.
Yeah, that's not smart.
It's over.
That's not good. That's not. Well, so let's just remember his name. And I understand why he's saying that. I completely understand. He's a fanatic, right? And he's like, man, I ain't seen nothing I ain't seen nothing. Just keep his name because you're gonna have to eat crow probably. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that it will happen. However, they definitely have a chance. You can't just can't cancel Christmas. No. No, they have a path of what they want to do, and they can be more of who they want to be with Soto at quarterback. Now, he has to stay healthy. He has to continue to improve, and he can't turn into a pumpkin, all those different things. But, yeah, I think that there's a chance. Is it likely? Are the percentages in our favor? No, Job. No, they're not. The percentages are not in our favor. However, it's a path. There is a path.
All right. I got another one for you, DG. Let's go ahead and get right
back to Darbo, Busama nice. Yeah, it's Darbo said that's his cousin. He's super nice. He just got to improve. He's still young, He is a very good player. But the young guy, the older guy they got is really helping him, I think.
Okay, let's go ahead and get to the next one for DG, which is from Malachi. Malachi Hooser says, DG, why does it seem like we don't recruit well or develop well at the wide receiver position?
Well, we got pros. I mean, for years now, I would love to see Michigan adapt a little more, and because my example is going to be Alabama. For years, it was always that one guy, right? They got that one guy that's going to go be a pro and be good, and then they saw like, oh, we need more than one guy. We can't. Clemson just beat us because they're so dynamic. We got to make sure we get more than one guy. And so now you see Alabama with more receiver weapons and different things like that. And so for Michigan, I would love to see that. But I think that the pros that they have, like Nico Collins, like that's developed, right? He came, didn't play much early or whatever, developed and became a really good player. Donovan Peoples-Jones, he's on practice squad right now, but he's been in the league for what, 5-6 years, performing well, not nothing over the top, but he's been a good player. So it's hard to play in that league, and I would say that's development. You got right now what, Roman Wilson, Ronnie Bell,
Wilson, and Cornelius Johnson, the latest ones.
Yeah, like they've developed them well. However, the way that they play football, the way that they play offense is just not conducive to the success of recruiting great receivers. It's much easier to develop receivers when they're already great. You think Ohio State's going to get the credit for Jeremiah Smith. Jeremiah Smith is like that already. And obviously he can go to another level, obviously. However, he's already really good. It's easier to do that. But if you have an offense that plays the way that they play, you're not going to get those guys that are already like all our guys didn't come in like that, right? They got developed into what they were able to do at the next level. So I think they do a good job of developing. Now, this is a different staff and whatever, but I think that, staying receiver coach right now, and, it's been different ones throughout this tenure, but I think as a general statement, I think they do a good job of not necessarily recruiting them, but developing them.
So here's the thing. Michigan has been recruiting receivers basically with an arm tied behind their backs,
of course,
from a style perspective.
Yeah,
It's hard to do when you have 1,000-yard receiver in what decade? A couple
since
decades.
Gallen? Is it since Gallen?
Probably. I think since Jeremy Gallen's the last 1,000-yard receiver.
Who's? Never mind.
I know who the quarterback was. You don't have and so that gets thrown in your face.
Yeah.
And so you're ice skating
7,000 plus.
Yeah, I get it. I understand. You're ice skating uphill. You're ice skating uphill, trying to get these dudes, whether it be in the portal, like and you are.
Wait, it's my last year. You want me to come play for y'all and catch 2 balls a game? Nah.
And you aren't really playing the NIL game the way other teams are playing until now you get down NIL wise, and you're saying you're gonna throw the football more. So okay, now you can go out and you can go get an Andrew Marsh. Not really looking like
who's Andrew Marsh.
Andrew Marsh is one of the top receivers in the country. I think he's a 5-star. He's not ready.
Oh, he's in high school still.
Yeah, he's committed to the class right now. But I tell you what, but this is why if I'm Michigan, like it even though it's not looking like it, you aren't throwing the football right now. This is why Portnoy's out there talking about 3 minutes. It's funny how we on dimes last week.
Don't even bring it up.
It's funny how we were on dimes last week and we started talking about, well, if you're Portnoy, might as well go spend some money on Bryce Underwood. Then all of a sudden people like, oh, he's about to offer. You see how that all of a sudden that became a topic, right? Oh, he's offering Bryce Underwood $3 million.
Why are you so surprised?
All of a sudden that became all the rage when we say he should.
That's why when you say, oh, they ain't watching or whoever ain't watching, they watching the show.
Oh, it's crazy how that became like this big topic.
Not crazy. It's clear.
But take it a step farther. Don't just stop at Bryce Underwood. Go get Bryce. Go get all the receivers. Go get the receivers Bryce want to throw to. Hell, go get the receivers in LSU's class. And who's in Bryce's class right now?
But this is the thing.
LSU
Sam,
got a receiver that Bryce. Derek Meadows?
Great.
Go get Derek Meadows.
All that is
go
great.
get them all.
All that is great,
get everybody who money can buy.
No.
Go get them right now.
But you can't.
Why not?
Because
why not?
Can I tell you? If you gonna let me tell you?
Sure, let's go.
Because there are other teams around the country that maybe not match that exact number, but they get close. And the sell is gonna be Michigan ain't gonna throw the ball. So it needs to be a clear out front plan of saying we're gonna develop you and we're not gonna just run the ball. We're gonna do, you know what I mean? Because okay, I get $2 million from Michigan and Ole Miss say, hey, we'll give you. Oh, I get $3 million from Michigan. Ole Miss said we'll give you $2 million and you get the private jet.
You need me to put together the plan? Because I can put together the plan.
I don't know about that. All I'm saying is those guys aren't coming. Period. Well, if you don't prove and have a clear plan of how you're gonna throw the ball,
I can do that.
You can?
Oh, hell yeah.
But you ain't on coach staff.
But I can put together that plan.
But you're not on coach staff. We need somebody on the coach staff.
If I can put together that plan, I know they can put together that plan.
Well, okay, you can. And you would. Will they?
So as long as the money's there. The money's there. And it's a not that it's pay for play, because this is not pay for play.
It's pay for play. It's fine. It's pay for play, it's fine.
But
everybody knows.
Let's make that happen.
But
then we'll get some receivers.
I don't think you will, because if you don't show and prove that you're gonna get them to the next level, because that's what it's about. People, like we've seen in this new NIL world, they're getting smarter, taking less money, staying a different, kind of like the NFL, right? When you want to win,
coming for everybody.
Okay, I got you. But let me finish. They're getting smarter because they're seeing so many people flame out. Like, oh man, that man was a dog over there. He went over there and he got a little bit of money in his pocket. Time out, Sam. He got a little money in his pocket, but the dream, what's the real dream? The dream ain't to get a little money in your pocket right now. The dream is to go play at the next level. And everybody that's a top player that's good enough that we're going to be looking for, they want to play at the next level, and they think they can. If you can't do that for them and you have no real blueprint and proof that you will and can, and that's moving forward with this season, it got to be more footballs in the air, period. Because these people have advisors. They have people like me. And if a kid talking to me, you mean to tell me you think you that good, they going to change everything they do. They won the national championship, 3 in a row, all that. They going to overhaul their whole, if I'm the mentor. For you, you're stupid if you think that you ain't Jeremiah Smith. I'm going to tell you the truth. And hopefully they have people like that tell them the truth. They're not doing that for you. So you better go take that $3 million, that $2 million, that 800,000 or whatever. No,
but if your name is Bryce Underwood and you're the best thing to come out of this state since a dude named Devin Gardner, and you know that if you mention the name Devin Gardner, because you know DG is so special.
You want to know who thought that same thing?
DG is so special.
Sam, you want to know who thought that same thing? Clemson with DJ Uiagalelei.
Okay.
They thought that same thing. And what has become of them because of it? I'm just saying.
You're just skipping over all the flattery and just absorb.
We trying to get to a solution, Sam. Don't try to butter me up, Sam.
Absorb the flattery. Absorb the flattery. I didn't even put up Zeke's message to you asking you if you were related to Ralph Trasmont. You didn't even see that.
Who was that?
See, exactly. See, you didn't even see that. I didn't even put that up.
You about to pick with me?
I'm just flattering
Who is
you.
Ralph Trasmont?
See, exactly.
You trying to talk crazy?
He said, "Are you related to?"
Who is that?
To say,
What
he's
trying to
the
say?
lead singer for New Edition. He sings "The Man with Sensitivity" and all that. I don't know why he brought it up today.
I'll beat him up. What about that? I bet you I'll beat you up. Nah. What about that? There you go. Man, hey, this man with sensitivity will get busy. And Sam know it. So what's up? Now what? Sucker.
All right. Let's go to the next one. Hey.
Yeah, that's weird. That's
listen,
a weird
if it's me,
thing.
I am putting together a campaign. These next 2 months would be campaign. Say, I'm coming for Bryce, and I'm coming for the best offensive recruiting class money can freaking buy.
But in 2024, I don't think that's gonna get you where you want. That'll get you what you want. Hey, the one thing I know that it get you, it'll get the next coach being able to coach them kids. You need to go get a guy right now.
Your house money is what you're appealing to is he's a hometown kid. This is what you're selling.
That's great.
What's special about it is you doing it at the crib. And it's nothing more special.
That should be obvious in my opinion, but this is the thing. If you Sharon Moore, you're going to get him for the next coach because he ain't going to be ready and you ain't going to win enough games. So you need to go get somebody. That $3 million need to be used for a dude you know for a fact is going to be a dog right now. And everything else you figured out in the future. You fighting for right now, Sharon.
So you say the freshman Bryce under
that can't help us. That can't help. Sam, there aren't freshmen. What freshman quarterback have you seen in the last 4 or 5 years that can help turn everything around and make it so Michigan is back to the national championship as a freshman, true freshman? Who? Have you seen one? No, because guess what? The playing field is even out. So now all these teams with these rosters, they got old guys. It's old guys everywhere, getting transfer portal, old guy. And so they ain't letting no freshmen. It's too much stuff. They can get their defenses ahead of the schedule because they got guys that have learned different defensive schemes and they're smart. You need to get a guy who's a dog right now. Now, I'm not saying don't go after Bryce. You do that, but the priority needs to be, first of all, you got to prove it to them that we're not going to just run the ball. That's first. Because if you ain't getting the dude that's already played either. You're not getting a Will Howard. Will Howard ain't going from the air raid to this. And the thing is with Jed Fish, he made it very clear. Listen, to the receivers that were there and whatever. He's like, listen, man, you're going to get this. You're going to get 100 targets. Hey, Will Howard, you're going to get developed. You're going to get to throw the ball. And if you don't have that clear plan, JJ is an anomaly as a kid, as a player, where you can just put yourself in 3rd and long regularly and he just go get it done and then go win a national championship like that. That's not going to happen no more. That's out. That's not going to happen anymore, period. And you're not going to have a kid that is so comfortable.
Yeah, you got to buy offensive line too.
You got to buy a lot. Because guess what? If I'm a quarterback, you say, okay, that's a great plan. We're going to throw the ball, all that. Is that offensive line going to protect like they used to? And the answer right now is no. So obviously, Bryce Underwood should be a priority, but Flournoy, whatever his name is, if he got $6 million, that's fine. But that first three need to go to a dude that can help right now. Or not right now, but next year. Or shoot, maybe you need to get in there and come now. Shoot, I don't know. They should have got Pavia. Vanderbilt in the home run with Pavia, man.
Yeah. Frank Ramatra, he said, "Yeah, we live in the fantasy land." He said Jack Tuttle is going to fall apart before halftime in Illinois. His body's going to break down. Forget Jack Tuttle, y'all. Y'all selling imagination in fantasy.
He says body. So we're selling that he's a good player. He's selling his body just going to crumble and break down. I don't know what the man's injuries are. I don't know. I know he just ain't been available as much. I don't know his injury history. But if he's not, we're assuming that he's not going to be injured. If he's not going to be injured, he's not going to fall apart, I will hope.
Right. I'm right there with you. All right.
He said, y'all selling a fantasy. That's crazy.
All right. Here's one. I don't know if you buy this or not. Adam Trimble, since Total Magic is the answer, should we line Orgy up as a wideout and try stuff like Washington did?
Who Washington did that with who?
I didn't see them do that, but
he's talking about the trick play. They put the second quarterback wide. They threw it to him, and then he had the throwback.
Man, that's trick play. He's saying it as a scheme, as a normal part of the offense. No, you shouldn't line him up. I mean, I don't think he has that skill as a wide receiver. Honestly, Orgy is a player he's like the defensive player in the past that was like he wasn't a safety, but he wasn't a linebacker. And in the past, there's no position for you. But now in today's football, it's a position for you, right? That strong safety position where you're a run stopper, but you're not great defending the pass, but you're kind of a tweener. You could play. On offense, when you're a tweener at quarterback, it's tough because he doesn't have the vision and running ability to be a running back. Everybody think you just go out there and play receiver because you got talent. No, that's not how it works. Right, you got to learn how to run routes. Right, you don't know what his hands are like. I'm sure he can catch, but because quarterbacks have the best hands, of course. But running routes, understanding where to be, and all that. I mean, it's a tough thing to do. It's not just to throw him out there middle season, and because everybody said like my transitional receiver, but I spent the whole spring. Right, I got busy the whole spring, and not only just in practice, and obviously spring and summer, but not just in practice. I was after practice every day trying to figure out how to run routes because I was talented, but running routes is totally different. And being comfortable running across the middle and doing all these different things and adjusting your body and body control is just different than playing quarterback. So he would need a whole summer, spring to do that for sure. And they don't have that time right
now. Steve DeWitt wants to know, DG, is it fair to question the scheme versus the players? Hard to believe this is the best version of the QBs or wide receivers. Also, watching that forced 2-minute drill at the end of the game was interesting.
Well, we talked about it, that the scheme isn't built for Orgy. I think it's first glance, but I don't think it was a bad scheme with Tuttle. I think they call plays well. I think Kirk Hamilton did a good job. Whoever's calling plays, I think he did a good job of keeping the team, keeping them all balanced. And you got 3 straight scores. We ain't seen that in a while, right? 3 straight scores of like it looked like real offense, right? Balance, all these different things, converting on 3rd down, 4th down, and whatever. I don't see a plan. I don't see a problem with the way they called the offense in this past game, in my opinion. But
I think Tuttle is in the comfort zone.
He looked real. I'm telling you, man. Not playing football for a long time is hard to get better at football and perform well in football, especially at quarterback. Everything moves so fast, and so I think he played well. I thought they called the game well. I mean, it just didn't win the game. I mean, he had a couple mistakes, but that's to be expected. Yeah, I don't see a real problem with the scheme as much, especially now. Now, before, obviously, you need to lean more into Orgy, but if Orgy's not going to be the quarterback, the scheme is exactly what they wanted to be with Tuttle.
All right, I think I'm a full hour. I mean, it's so many questions. I've a full hour behind. So if you saw any questions recently that you want to get to, I'm gonna go ahead and kind of wrap it up because there's too many to kind of go back and get. I don't know if you have any in the last like 20 minutes that you wanted to get to.
You've hit on a lot of it, Sam.
I hit on a lot of it already.
Yeah. I mean, people talking crazy.
It's 48
I
minutes.
thought
of
about
overtime.
blocking somebody, but then it just disappeared right away, and I couldn't get back to it. But
You been blocking people, DG?
No. I thought about it, but his comment like just disappeared.
Yeah. All right. Well, folks, I hope you enjoyed this overtime session. Got as many questions as we could.
And community. This is because we're a community. We're all family. Can we weed out the people who are just saying things to get noticed? Can we put them on blast in the chat so we can get them blocked and different? Because it's some stuff you're just saying just to get a rise and maybe get noticed and whatever. And I just don't think that's fair, because now you're clouding the chat and we can't get to all the good questions, the people that are really interested. So help us weed them out, everybody. Like, don't let people ruin your experience because they just want to be for clout, right? Don't let that happen. Let us know, because I'm king, block them. And I think they should be blocked because they're ruining the whole experience. Sam can't even get through the comments because you got people just commenting garbage just so they can get noticed and get their comment put up there. And so, just openly negative all the time. Like, weed them out. Weed them out. What? I want the people in the community to have.
Man, I rely on people. You're right. I rely on people to help me police stuff all the time.
Because I see a lot of garbage. I'm just scrolling like, man, that's garbage. Like you clearly are just saying that for clout to try to get noticed, trying to get a rise out of me or Sam, and you clouding the whole deal.
Look at this.
Dang, somebody mad at you.
No, that's a Buckeye. That's a Buckeye.
Well, he said he sounded the man, but you can't talk about my guy Sam now.
He's making it as a joke, Sam.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
He's making fun of the
Look
Buckeye.
at Sam.
Samuel becomes Scamuel.
That was kind of good. That was good.
Sam, you think a Buckeye could actually
I was about to say that was a good one. Scamuel was good.
Yeah, I'm just
A
saying.
Buckeye is not smart
How
enough
could
to
they
add.
not have thought of that?
No.
And Scamuel is that's good. But now they can't use it because it's already out there.
Yeah,
I
Buckeyes
thought
aren't
this
smart
was
enough to come up with that one.
Okay, I thought that was just a
Hey, Sam, I was looking at it like, that's kind of clever. But I ain't saying, I said, damn, that's kind of clever.
Okay, sorry, Dexter. Sorry, Dexter. I just assumed anytime I see, because Buckeyes show up all the time.
But even though I would tell you this, Buckeyes don't really hate me, really. Because I keep it real. I tell the truth,
They hate me.
Oh, they hate you.
They
hate you.
They chomping at the
That's
bit.
why I believe the
They
comment. Because
They like, oh my God.
a Buckeye would say, hey, man, DG, you the man. I'm like, you cool. And then they'll look
Buckeyes want this
Samuel.
game. They want so bad to win this game, so they could come in all my shows.
Hey, that show gonna be the highest rated, highest views ever, huh?
That's cool. Hey man, if they win, I show up and take it all.
But you won't have to really eat crow, because you never came into this season thinking like, oh, we gonna dominate Ohio State, did you?
Well, I said don't let them win. Don't let Michigan win.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. That's gonna be
this year.
That's gonna be you're gonna be in trouble. I'm not coming.
No excuses.
If Michigan win against Ohio State, I'm not coming.
You're supposed to win. You got everything you bought, everything Michigan lost.
Ira,
supposed to win Ohio State.
We not coming if Ohio State lose, because Sam is gonna be insufferable. We can't control him. We got to take our sick days. God. All right, Ira, me and you together. So we're gonna take our sick days. Because
I'm gonna have to be on only on the stream. Only on the stream.
A lot of Valium.
I cannot be on terrestrial radio. That
FCC probably wouldn't allow that one.
Just yeah. Totally.
Hey, look, Mike G.
Totally.
All right, Mike G or Gee, he's already claimed it. He is the chat. He's the community town jester. So he the only one to get to say garbage. He already claimed his title. So we're not gonna take nothing he say serious. We good. Everybody else, y'all, hey, town, hey, community, put us. Hey, no, Gee is off limits because he called it first, right? He said he's the town jester. Don't block him. All right, got it. He's the one that can do the garbage, but for the most part, let's keep it clean and keep real questions. Try to figure it out, because we're all in this together, are we not?
Yeah, we are.
We're all in this together.
Right. We need to call it a day, folks. Thanks a lot for being with us on this super extended session of Monday Morning Quarterback. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching the MMQB.
Don't leave yet. Here, one more thing. Oh no!
R.I.P. R.I.P. Rest in peace to the kid.
Oh yeah, rest in peace. He's great.